Kenyatta University has, organized, and they've of course kicked off this this morning with the pre-conference also being carried out at the KUCC grounds and the Business Center grounds. We have with us key stakeholder and organizer of the event from Kenyatta University, Professor Onywera, who is also very key on matters innovation and research, not forgetting his very, passion for exercise. Thank you very much, sir, for creating time.
Thank you very much, Anki, for inviting me.
It's good to have you.
It's good to have you, and we are very happy to have KUTV as one of the partners in this conference.
Now, a lot of people are looking forward to the conference, which will officially kick off tomorrow, of course, cross Thursday through to Friday. And now a lot of people are asking, well, why is it very important, however, to have researchers come on board to discuss matters like food security, universal health coverage, and even infrastructure? And why now?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. This conference is important for us because our core mandate as Kenyatta University is teaching and learning, research and service to the humanity. Secondly, it is by organizing this kind of scientific meetings that we are able to share information and knowledge, best practices, and data that can go a long way in addressing, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals, our Big Four agenda, Kenya Vision 2030. So for us as Kenyatta University, this is a very important meeting, and we are very excited that we have a lot of delegates that have already arrived in the country.
Professor, you'd allow us to ask you to confirm that we have delegates coming from all over the world for this particular conference?
Absolutely. We were able to receive over 300 abstracts.
Okay.
And out of these abstracts comes with the delegates. Already we have delegates from over 15 countries, whether you're talking about Europe, parts of North America, the entire continent of Africa, we have delegates with us. We have delegates from Kenya, both from the private sector, from universities. So we are quite excited about that.
Well, that is very, very impressive. However, I know the viewer back at home is watching and asking now, how is that going to be of benefit to me? Not forgetting to mention the fact that Kenya as a country has for a long time, tried to battle with the food insecurity. We've had floods. Right now we have, a very heavy downpours, which are also still coming in as disastrous and drought. Do you feel that this kind of conferences, for example, the one we're having today, will help us, give some measures or solutions to this particular problem?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, just talking about the floods that are wreaking havoc in the northern part of the country, it's like a double-edged sword, where at one end of the spectrum, we are seeing people dying because of drought. And the other end of the spectrum, we are seeing, people dying because there's too much water. So this conference has come at the right time, because through this conference, we are going to have policymakers, we are going to have practitioners, we are going to have researchers to really converse, to discuss, and try as much as possible to come up with possible steps forward in addressing the challenges that we are facing today, including the floods and also food insecurity.
Sometimes Kenyans say, well, we see conferences held and you bring all the new things, researchers come from across the world, but we have pending issues and reports that were, released to Kenyans years ago, including the, CARI, for example, 2008, following the food security, which I have really emphasized on because Kenyans are dying. Are you also going to challenge, these factors in the conference? Because I'm sure there's a Kenyan who's tweeting now and asking, what about somebody questioning the accountability of the people in charge to make sure that things that are put in place are really accomplished?
Yeah, no, it is not going to be business as usual in this conference. And the university management has really put in resources and commitment to ensure that this is not just an event. This conference is going to be a process that will come up with very clear, next steps. It's going to come up with a very strong communique and way forward. And the aim is to ensure that what is being discussed does not just remain when the conference comes to an end on Friday. So I can give you my word, my promise, that this is going to be an impactful conference. Going by even the people who are exhibiting alone, looking at our partners, the people who are supporting us, who want to work with us, I can tell you that the impact is already being felt right now.
Well, that is very strong there. The impact is already being felt. We are hardly 2 days into the conference, and that is quite a remark. Now, Professor, there is a question of, I just want to hear your comments generally, because you're really, you're specialized in matters innovation and research. And Kenyans would ask, so far on the universal health coverage, now as professor, what would be your remarks generally on the strides that the government has done, and as a country, we have done in matters ensuring that every Kenyan, it has access to quality health care. With even the people striking, we have medical practitioners striking different counties. What do you have to say about this status quo?
I think, first of all, is to commend the government, even for coming up with the big four, universal health coverage. And I believe that we are on the right track, despite the little challenges that we are observing here and there. These big four that the government is spearheading, it's really a responsibility of each one of us. It cannot be left to the government alone. Because who is the government? The government is you and me. We, therefore, as researchers and scholars, and even the policymakers and practitioners and the industry, we have a cardinal responsibility to ensure that we make a contribution to the big four agenda, ranging from the health, manufacturing, food and nutrition security, affordable housing. We have a response, and that's why through this kind of forum, the conference that KU has organized, we are going to have a dialogue around these big four.
Very, very important. Some people say the government isn't doing that, the government isn't doing this. It's very, very humbling to hear a professor here saying it is each and every person's responsibility to ensure that these things come to pass as they have been initiated.
That's right.
By the government. So what you're saying, Professor, is that it could be an initiative by the government, but it is wholesomely our responsibility. Now, before we close, we also want to touch on, these are very key, issues that we will touch, during the panel discussions. Now, for the viewer, just to get a glimpse of your remarks, also on matters food security and agriculture, but we also want to take a look at infrastructure before we close the bulletin. Just your remarks on the current infrastructural development in the country.
That's great. What we have done, without preempting the panel discussions that we'll have, we have 3 panel discussions to be held tomorrow, Wednesday, the 23rd. We'll have a panel discussion focusing on universal health coverage. Great panelists, great discussants, and we invite everybody, to turn up so that they can hear the conversation, they can be part of the story. Then on Thursday, we'll have a panel discussion focusing on food and nutrition security. Great panelists, great discussions. Then on Friday, the last day, we'll be on manufacturing, transport. We would like to have a discussion on how can we address the problem of traffic in our cities, for example. So you will be happy to hear that one of the panel discussants really had a major contribution in addressing the traffic challenge in downtown London. He will be here in United Kingdom. He will be one of the panelists. So we have made a great 5-star conference here at Kenyatta University.
A lot of viewers today are following. Remember, you can tweet at KUTV Kenya on your questions that you expect, of course, to be answered tomorrow, right here at Kenyatta University. We can pass that over to the website and, of course, to Professor here and the panelists on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And as we close, Kenyatta University is not only an institution, but a very key institution in the country. Are you sure, or would you say that you're certain that you are really molding these young Kenyans to take your place one day as a professor and make sure that these conferences do not end with this year or next year, but will continue be sustained by the young people that you're molding in Kenyatta University?
Yes, first of all, I'm very sure, I have no doubt, because I am a product of Kenyatta University myself. I'm a proud alumnus of Kenyatta University, and I've seen Kenyatta University grow in leaps and bounds. A lot of programs have been put in place. For example, we have programs that support early career researchers. We have programs that support our innovators. We have programs that support established researchers. We have put a very robust and strong research and innovation backbone that is really conducive to molding the young researcher, the young scholar, the young innovator. And the university management, with the leadership of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Paul Wainaina, has really created that enabling environment for scholarly work and for academic excellence. So we are very happy as Kenyatta University, and the sky for us is the lower limit.
Is the lower limit. Of course, thank you very much, Professor, for being here and making it very clear, if I got it correctly, that the research is the heart of finding solutions to the social, political, and the economic problems that we could be facing even as a country. We're looking forward to the particular conference.
Thank you. Thank you very much
for coming.
Thank you.
Now, that is just it for the very short interview, and of course, letting you know that the conference right here at Kenyatta University kicked off, or rather the pre-conference was today and is kicking off tomorrow officially through to Friday, the 25th of October, 2019.